Okay, so picking up where we left off, we have a set of 2D drawings of our stool project with line weights applied, with a few dimensions applied. Yours should probably be a little more comprehensive than that. And I'm going to go ahead and put together a layout now. In other words, like a page, right, where I'm going to lay out all my drawings. I'm going to put labels, scales, annotations, and other types of information. So if you missed it in the last video, I'll just delete this and start over. We're going to click the little tab at the bottom, the little plus tab at the bottom where all the viewports are. And go to New Layout, 11 by 17. So we'll choose Rhino PDF first of all, because we're going to probably print to PDF. I'll choose 11 by 17, and I'll choose landscape. Click OK. Now the other thing I've placed online on your course site is something called Shop Drawing Title Block. Again, if I just drag that in, it's a PDF actually. If I just drag that in, or I'm sorry, it's not a PDF. It is in fact a Rhino file. But I'm just going to drag that in on my layout here, and I'll click Import, and it should automatically, actually, if my drawing is in fact 11 by 17, it would automatically place it. Now, one thing that is new is all the text has been shifted slightly, but it should be at the top of the box, right? So this is where you would like fill in all the information. To change that, I would just select all the text boxes, and over here on the left, under Properties, go to Text Options, and then I would click, Top Justify to shift it down. It should have been like that anyway, but I guess maybe it's a this title block was originally made in Rhino 5, I think, actually. So just a compatibility thing. And then when your title block is in there, you would want to go in and add all the information. What classes, what's the date, you drew it, who's your TA and instructor. And then like with other types of drawings, you would label the title of the sheet, which if it's only one drawing, it would just be the title of the drawing, and then you would label the sheet number, just to help people orient themselves, when there's several pages in your drawing set. So then what I would do, let me first just select my detail window. So this is a detail window automatically created by Rhino for me. And I'll just grab one of those grips and move it out of the way so it's not intersecting or overlapping with my title block. And then I'm going to stay on the command dimension, and I'm going to use the command text. And I would go ahead, I don't know what layer that showed up on, maybe on medium. Anyway, I would go ahead and, so for example, what class is this? Arc 540B. And I would place that up there. So yeah, I'm actually just going to change these all to, I'll change all the text to dimension. And maybe I'll change the outlines to, or the lines, 0.15. Delete that way. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Change color. So if I select that outline, it should be on display color. Okay, so black, that's fine. You can also go by layer. So you could fill in all the pertinent information there. And then let's change into, before we do anything else, let's change into print preview. So at the top left of the viewport, drop down, go to print preview. And that should preview everything according to its print properties rather than according to the display properties, right? So we already set the print colors for a bunch of our layers, the print widths for a bunch of our layers. I haven't set these up yet for my newer layers, so I'll go ahead and do that right now. Hatch, maybe we make it a little lighter. Okay. And we do want to set a line weight for our dimension lines because, or our dimension layer, because these little lines here on our dimensions will also come with a thickness, right? I want to make sure that's visible. And I think the hatch is kind of the same, actually. We would make that 0.13 lightest line weight. Okay, and then again, to reposition our viewport, I'm going to double click in here. I'm going to kind of center and zoom in a little bit. I'll center my orthographic drawings, my plans and elevations. I'll select the detail window. So I double clicked to get out of it, right? So I'm no longer moving around inside the detail window. Then I can just select the window itself, the outline. And under properties, go to detail. And under scale, we could set the scale. So we could say 1/8 of an inch equals a foot. So just remember that your model space is also in inches. So what you can do is say like 1/8 of an inch, which would be 0.125, equals 12 inches in the model, right? Oops, keep doing it wrong. Okay, and that's obviously way too small. I'll try again, 0.125. Is it? We could do like 1/2 an inch. Still way too small. Let's do like 1 inch equals a foot. Let's do 1.5 inches equals a foot. All right, let's do 2 inches equals. Okay, great. So we'll set up then we could just, we'll just crop. The detail windows are set automatically not to print, so you won't see that line when we print this to PDF. So we can just move it around to kind of crop our drawing to whatever we want. Okay, so now our drawing is at 2 inches equals a foot. What we want to do is go in and label everything. So I would do that on the page, right? I would just type in text, use the text command. I would say elevation. And remember, you want it to be kind of positioned relative to each drawing in a consistent way, so I know this is an elevation, not the plan, etc. So I'm going to copy it relative to each drawing. And then I might even actually want to go back and like make these further spaced apart so I can tell what thing is what. I would also put like little lines marking where that plan is being cut. Also plan. Normally in this kind of drawing set, you'd actually number the drawing. So you could say like, on this plan, that elevation, which is on another page, is drawing, whatever number it has. But anyway, so we'll just label those with kind of what they are. Okay. Cool. And the other thing that you sometimes want to do, and I won't necessarily do it on here, but let's say we're going to lay out I'll make a new layout on my 17. If I wanted to place my title block on there, I could just go in, type in copy to clipboard, go to the next page, and paste. You just want to change the sheet number, obviously, and the title. And then in here, I could zoom in, details. Okay, and then I can say I wanted to make another layout. So you also want to think about what things are on what pages, right? We can't fit everything on one page. So it probably makes sense, for example, to put like your exploded axon, which is a drawing that will help explain how kind of all the pieces come together. It would probably make sense to put that on a page with your cut sheet, right? That shows what the pieces are and what their dimensions are, right? So we might make this a certain scale. Let's try 3 inches equals a foot. It'll do 2 inches. Do 3. This might be a little bigger. That's the same. Okay. So then, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we would also want to label the scale of each drawing. So actually, what you often will see, especially if you have multiple drawings on a page that have different scales, is you'll see it labeled right here, right? This would then say like 2 inches equals 1 foot, 0 inches. But it's also useful in many cases to have a graphic scale. I meant to put that on the next line down there. Often how you'll see it. And then you also often will see like, there's like a line and a circle. And the circle has a number, right? So let's say that's drawing, if we do 1, 2, that would be 3. For that one, we'll choose center justified and place it at the center of the circle. right? So you would actually copy that for all the, right? I should have showed that in the first place, but you would copy that for all the drawing. This would be drawing 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if you wanted to, which is often helpful because you don't always know what, if someone else is printing your drawing, you don't know what size paper they might use. You could put a graphic scale, right? So if this were, accidentally printed twice as big, somebody would be mistaken if they used that just labeled scale to measure something on your drawing, right? So to make a graphic scale, let's say I'm at 2 inches equals a foot, so I would go on my page and just start drawing a line. Let's maybe start at like 3 inches, right? So 3 inches would be a quarter. So let's say 2 inches is 1 foot. So 1 inch is half a foot. So, or sorry, 1 inch is 6 inches. So 3 inches would be a quarter of an inch. So I type in 0.25. And then I like to do the vertical version, like, and then maybe the next one is or I could do 0.25 again, right? So then I would go to, that would take me to 6 inches, and then I would maybe do 0.5 to take me up to, oops, I don't know why that didn't, that's not 0.5, right? Oh, weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, and then you would make the next one. So that should be 3 inches, 6 inches, 1 foot. Then maybe we go to like another 1 foot, which would be 2 more inches. I don't know why it's doing this. I think I'm gonna turn Smart Track off. Okay. Join all those lines. And then we would do the same. We would want to label, 0 feet, 0 inches. I'm going to do center justified. I'm going to do it at the bottom there. We could even make these a little bit smaller. Sometimes you want to do the thing where you type zoom and you go 1:1, which as long as the computer knows your resolution should give you a good sense of like how large that would be. So that's pretty small. Should give you a sense of how large that would be if you were to, print it. Anyway, so I'll copy this now for each one. That would be 3 inches. And remember, it counts up. So we're not looking at the distance between there and there. We're looking at the distance between there, the start, and there. And yeah, that'd be 1 foot. That would be 2. Is that right though? Like that's 3 inches. That's 6 inches. Quarter inch, half an inch. So 1 inch is actually half a foot. Oh, I'm sorry. But that is 6 inches. This is 3 inches. I would actually delete the 0 feet. Making it hard to read. This would actually be 1 and half inches. It's the wrong thing. Okay, that would be 0. All right, so that's 1 inch there. That's great. All right, it's 2 inches. So that's a foot. Should probably go to a foot first. Let's move this back over 1 inch. Then we might want to add a foot on the end. So that would be 1 foot. 0 inch. Okay. And then you could copy that around. You'd want to do a similar thing for each different scale that you used. This one's obviously kind of big, but anyway, so you'd want to also make it. It's useful, in my experience, to make a graphic scale. Okay, and finally, the other thing that you'd probably want to do somewhere on one of these set of drawings. Yes, I should point out, you can also copy a layout, move or copy. Right-click on the layout, go to move or copy. If you want it at the end, you click move to end, and then you just check where it says create a copy. The other thing is you have to then, change the name of it. Just double-click in there. Maybe this would be our details. So those are more zoomed in, probably. Let's see, let's try 1 inch equals 3 inches. 1 inch equals 2 inches. Maybe even 1 to 1. Yeah, you can actually get away with that. So, and again, you can see on here, we can still move these, right? Click on a dimension. Control points appear, you can move them around. And kind of slow down. Okay. And so these are all individual drawings, right? You'd want to give these their own labels. Titles and numbers and everything. And then if we were to, say, lay a bunch of these out on the page, what we would actually want to do is also annotate. For instance, with this detail, we would want to say that's a certain size bolt. Maybe it's a certain material that we're using. Maybe this is something we want to label, right? That dowel. So we could type in leader. So leader is the same, uses an annotation style, just like our dimension does. And what we do is we draw from an object in our drawing, draw off to the side. So that's like an arrow. And then when I'm done drawing a line, I would press enter. And then I would say this is a quarter 20. Machine thread bolt. We probably say by 2 inches. Machine thread bolt. And we could say like the quantity, like there would be 4 in the overall drawing. And then, so again, we can change that. Move the control points to make it more compact. But you probably want to label, each thing. And I like to, try and make them as consistent as I can. So I try to line them up and everything. Just something that helps. All right. So you go through and label everything on the on this drawing, for instance. What I probably want to do is actually label each part, give each part like a number or a letter or something. So how would I do that? I would actually just add a text object. If I said A, and I'm going to go center justify it. And I'm also going to use the mask option on this one. I'll go solid color, white, just white background. And you could even also make a circle around it. Oh, it actually fills the circle, or covers the circle. Anyway, so you could label that's part A, right? And so the reason that that's helpful is I would say all of these are part A, right? They're all the same. And all of these are part B. And so when I go over to my cut sheet, to change where I copied it everywhere, but when I go to my cut sheet, I want to label that's part A, right? That's part B. Okay, I would label that there. I would probably also say, times 4. And same is true of that piece. Or B, right? Should maybe have changed the order on the page. And maybe that's C. So you want to correlate each part to its cut sheet. And you would actually also want to correlate where different connections happen. So, for example, this is like a vertical to a horizontal connection. And our other detail, which is, where is it? That one is a horizontal to a horizontal connection, right? So we could make a circle. I would call it out there. I would make that a dashed line circle. And then I would say leader, right? Leader. I would call it out. And then, normally you would actually also say like page to draw, like what page in drawing it is. Typically you'd have like a code to that. So it was page 3. The whole drawing is actually like so it would be drawing, normally you would just label it with the actual drawing number, but it would be like, let's say it's on page 3, it would be, and then it's drawing 3 on page 3, it would be 3.03, which is actually like, in fact, it's better just that. So that indicates that that's a certain drawing that's on another page, like that connection is. And so if I was building this thing and I wanted to know what goes on there, I would go, oh, page 3. And then this would be that we're drawing 3, right, if I labeled it. Okay, so that more or less covers everything you need to know. Obviously, this isn't a complete set, but it should cover all the steps that you would need to go through to make your own set of drawings. And when you're done, you would just use the command print, Rhino PDF. I like to do 300 dpi because 600 just makes your file size larger than it needs to be. And down under view and output scale, you would go to all layouts. So you would have all the pages of your PDF, of your drawing set in one PDF. And I would go print, save it somewhere, and that would be your file that you would print and bring with you to the shop or submit for your shop drawing. All right, go ahead and end it there.